The origin story of Jeffrey Dahmer. The Milwaukee Cannibal, or the Milwaukee Monster. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer was an American serial killer and sex offender who murdered and severed the bodies of 17 men and boys between 1978 and 1991. His later killings frequently entailed cannibalism, necrophilia, and the permanent retention of body parts, usually the entire or a portion of the skeleton. Early life. Childhood. The first of the two sons of Joyce Annette, a teletype machine instructor, and Lionel Herbert Dahmer, a Marquette University chemistry student, and later a research chemist, Dahmer was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, on May 21, 1960. While Joyce Dahmer was of Irish and Norwegian ancestry, Lionel Dahmer is of German and Welsh descent. According to some stories, Dahmer was neglected as a baby. However, according to some reports, Dahmer's parents adored him as a baby and toddler, even though his mother was notorious for being tense, attention-seeking, and confrontational with her husband and their neighbors. Adolescence and high school. Dahmer was seen as an outsider starting in his freshman year at Revere High School. He started drinking beer and hard liquor during the day at the age of 14, usually hiding his alcohol inside the jacket he wore to school. He explained that the booze he drank was my medicine to a classmate who asked him why he was drinking scotch in a morning history lesson. Staff members in his freshman year described Dahmer as courteous and highly intelligent, but with ordinary grades despite his general lack of communication. He played tennis competitively and for a short time in the high school band. Late teens and early 20s. The first murder. Murder of Stephen Hicks. 3 weeks after graduating in 1978, Dahmer committed his first murder. On June 18, Stephen Mark Hicks, a hitchhiker who was almost 19 years old, was picked up by Dahmer. Dahmer used the promise of drinking to get the young person to his home. Hicks consented to go with Dahmer to his house in exchange for a couple of beers, as Dahmer had the house to himself and had gone hitchhiking to a rock concert at Chippewa Lake Park, Ohio. Dahmer claimed that when he saw Hicks standing by the side of the road with his chest exposed, it made him feel attracted to him sexually. However, when Hicks started talking about girls, he realized that any advances would be rejected. Hicks wanted to leave, and I didn't want him to leave after spending several hours conversing, drinking, and enjoying music. Hicks was struck by Dahmer with a 10-pound dumbbell. Later, he said that while Hicks was seated in a chair, he attacked him twice from behind with a dumbbell. When Hicks lost consciousness, Dahmer strangled him with the dumbbell's bar. College and Army service. When Dahmer's father and his fiancée visited his house 6 weeks after the murder of Hicks, they found Jeffrey living there by himself. Dahmer enrolled at Ohio State University in August to major in business. Due in large part to his continued alcohol addiction for the majority of the semester, Dahmer's single academic year at OSU was entirely fruitless. He obtained poor marks in administrative science, classical civilizations, and introduction to anthropology. Riflery was the only class in which Dahmer did well, earning a B. His final grade was 0.45 out of 4.0. When Lionel unexpectedly visited his son once, he saw empty booze bottles all around his son's room. Even though his father had already paid for the second term, Dahmer left OSU after just 3 months. Return to Ohio and relocation to West Allis, Wisconsin. When he first moved back to Ohio, Dahmer stayed with his father and stepmother and insisted on being given a ton of tasks to do while he was looking for a job. 2 weeks after his return, Dahmer was detained for disorderly behavior due to his ongoing heavy drinking. He received a $60 fine and a 10-day prison sentence with supervision. The father of Dahmer made vain attempts to wean his son off the booze. He and Dahmer's stepmother sent him to his grandmother's house in West Allis, Wisconsin in December 1981. The only relative for whom Dahmer showed any regard was his grandma. They believed that her influence and the change of scenery would convince Dahmer to give up drinking, get a job, and lead a moral life. Late 20s and early 30s, subsequent murders. Ambassador Hotel. On November 20, 1987, Dahmer met Stephen Tuomi, a 25-year-old from Montonagon, Michigan, at a bar and convinced him to go to the Ambassador Hotel in Milwaukee, where Dahmer had reserved a room for the night. At the time, Tuomi was living with his grandmother in West Dallas. Dahmer said that he planned to just sedate Tuomi and lie next to him as he investigated his body, rather than killing him. But when Dahmer awakened the following morning, Tuomi was on the bed under him, his chest bruised and black and blue. In addition to having a bloody mouth corner, Dahmer also had severely battered fists and one forearm. Dahmer initially told police that he had no recollection of killing Tuomi, and he subsequently told detectives that he could not believe this had happened. Oxford Apartments. 1990 Killings. On May 14, 1990, Dahmer left his grandmother's residence and relocated to apartment 213 at 924 North 25th Street, bringing Sears' mummified skull and genitalia with him. The apartment was close to his place of employment, was furnished, and was reasonably priced at $300 per month, inclusive of all costs excluding electricity, despite being in a high-crime neighborhood. After only 1 week in his new flat, Dahmer had already murdered Raymond Smith, his sixth victim. Smith, a 32-year-old male prostitute, was drawn to apartment 213 by Dahmer's offer of $50 for sexual services. He provided Smith with a drink that was spiked with 7 sleeping tablets inside the flat before manually strangling him. Arrest. Capture. On July 22, 1991, Dahmer approached 3 men and offered them $100 to go with him to his apartment where they would take nude pictures, drink beer, and just hang out. Tracy Edwards, a 32-year-old member of the group, consented to go with him to his flat. Edwards noticed a bad smell as soon as he walked into Dahmer's apartment, as well as several boxes of hydrochloric acid lying on the floor, which Dahmer claimed to use for cleaning bricks. After a brief exchange of words, Dahmer asked Edwards to turn his head and look at his tropical fish. When he refused, Dahmer put a handcuff over his wrist. Edwards inquired, "What's going on?" Edwards was instructed to go with Dahmer to the bedroom where they would pose for nude photos after Dahmer tried to cuff Edwards' wrists together. Edwards noticed posters of naked men on the wall in the bedroom, and that a videotape of The Exorcist IV was playing. In the corner, he noticed a blue 57-gallon drum with a powerful stink coming from it. That's all for today's origin story video, guys. Tell us your thoughts in the comment section, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Let us know what origin story you'd like to learn about next in the comments. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. See you in the next video. Until then, best wishes. Thanks for watching.